up, everybody? Welcome into the Porch, a Volquest.com baseball podcast presented by the great people over at Spivey King and Spivey LOP. If you've got a problem, let them find a solution for you. It is TN Trial Lawyers. You can specialize in criminal defense, family law, personal injuries. A free consultation, 423-245-4185. That phone number again is 423-245-4185. Spivey King and Spivey LLP. Charlie Taylor going to join the show here in about 10-15 minutes or so. We're going to get you set for Tennessee and Kentucky and some of the big highlights from last week, Tennessee at Ole Miss. Really good series again. It was a series win on the road, and you don't apologize for that. You know, we wrote about it in the 3-2-1. Anytime you win a baseball game, anytime you win a football game or whatever, you don't apologize. Even if you play like crap, even if you play frustrating baseball at times, you don't apologize. And so when you go on the road and you beat a top 10 team such as Ole Miss, 2-3, winning the rubber match on Sunday, though you made so many mistakes, you don't apologize. But having said that, I think Tony Vitello summed it up very well on Tuesday night. It's like, you know, you and the media or, you know, whatever, and he didn't mean it abrasively. He made sure to tell us that. It always cracks me up when Tony says something like that because he's always got a double back. Like a couple weeks ago, he was like, I forgot what we were talking about here, but he was like, you know, media, a lot of great people here, a lot of hard workers here in the media. It just cracked me up. But he was like, I mean, we know we haven't played our best baseball the last 2 weekends, and that is abundantly true. 3-3 against two teams that, according to Tony Vitello, believes could be Omaha teams. You know, make runs in June, that being Texas A&M, who Tennessee obviously was kind of the launching pad for, returning to good baseball play, and then Ole Miss on the road this past weekend. But Tennessee got the job done, and Tennessee's sitting with an overall record of 32-5. 11-4 in SEC play, and you are the number 4 team in the country according to D1 Baseball. And you know, depending on where you look, I think Tennessee's been as high as number 2. I think that's Baseball America, but number 4 is what D1 Baseball says, and that's the poll that we follow here at Volquest.com. But nonetheless, you know, pretty gritty win, series win for Tennessee, and Charlie Taylor's going to talk about that here in a moment. But man, Liam Doyle was just phenomenal. I mean, he got up to 9 consecutive innings of hitless baseball at one point or another during that start. Going back to Oxford, 8 innings and a third, career high. 14 strikeouts, tied a career high. That's an SEC high. 2 walks, 3 hits, one home run. That was Dawson Foley, who had a home run in every game, and that was all she wrote. I mean, that was it. Liam Doyle was fantastic, and then of course Tony played matchup there at the end with Nate Snead and Dylan Loy. Got a little dicey after that walk from Deloy, but nonetheless, Tennessee got it done in game number 1. Game 2, again, it was a frustrating 8-5. Tennessee had a couple errors in that game, 2 errors defensively. Gavin Keelan, though, he was really good. Gavin Keelan back to the lineup this weekend as a designated hitter. Clearly not 100%, not running 100%, but that's why they put him back in the lineup because, you know, 3 for 4 on Saturday, and adding some stability big time at that number 2 spot when Dean Curley for much of the series and on Saturday specifically was 0 for 5. He had a nice RBI hit there on Sunday. He had a great midweek game, did Dean Curley, with 3 hits on his birthday on Tuesday. So hopefully he's kind of rounding back into form, but we'll be interested to see where Dean Curley, if he's hitting leadoff or hitting 4th or wherever, you know, this weekend at home against Kentucky. I'm not a huge fan of Hunter Ensley leading off. I think Hunter Ensley's obviously one of the best hitters on the team, one of the best hitters in the SEC this year, but I've never been a big fan of Hunter Ensley leading off, and that's kind of what they were toying with last year in Arlington, but that's what Tennessee did in Game 3 on over the weekend. But Tennessee fell 8-5 on Saturday. Marcus Phillips got ran all over, man. It was brutal, and I'm going to talk to Charlie about that here in just a moment and what you can do to kind of disrupt the timing and kind of not allow that to happen because, man, he just – you give Ole Miss credit, man. They saw that on the scouting report, and they went to it, and they continue to go to it. 8 stolen bases on the game, 7 against Marcus Phillips, 5 in the first inning. That is not what you want to do. An adjustment has got to be made, hopefully, before he takes the mound here again this Saturday against Kentucky. But a frustrating day on Saturday, and then on Sunday, man, back and forth, and who else but the person to kind of get this thing jump started than Cannon Peebles. I say who else because again, it's kind of like, from a fan's perspective, you get frustrated watching and seeing the average and watching automatic outs there at the bottom of the order, and that's fair. But it's like he just continues to come through in big hits. Did it in Omaha with that 8-pitch walk to kind of keep that 9th inning alive there against Florida State, and had the massive 2-run home run in the 9th after having a play that he wished he had back at the plate that allowed the game to tie at South Carolina in Game 2, and Then the other day, his 2-run home run in the 6th inning ignited a 5-run 6th inning for Tennessee, taking a 7-3 advantage, I believe, at the time. And, of course, that lead lasted all of 5 outs. But nonetheless, it was really, really good. And then Reese Chapman there, a 3-run 9th, 2-run home run from Reese Chapman in the 9th inning. Just magnificent. And Tennessee was able to hold on, outlast Ole Miss is the better word to phrase that, 10-8, taking the series in the rubber match on Sunday afternoon. I did not think that Tegan Kuhns was bad on Sunday. I really didn't. Short lease, that's evident. 2 2/3, 3 runs, 4 hits. His defense really didn't help him. 1 run that was earned, 3 runs overall, 3 strikeouts, no walks. I thought Tegan Kuhns was fine. I thought Braden Krenzel, for the most part, he got tagged for a late run, but I thought Braden Krenzel looked good, and I like those 2 freshmen a lot. I really, really like those 2 freshmen an awful lot. Snead is obviously struggling right now, but he went through a stretch like this last year and turned out to be okay, so I'm not too worried about it, but it is worth noting. I mean, you pull up his page over there at utathletics.com or whatever, utsports.com, and his numbers here lately have not been good, but we all know what Nate Snead is capable of. And Dylan Loy, I've noticed his splits. He pitched all 3 games against the Aggies, gave up a run on Sunday, and then gave up a run in Game 3 against the Aggies, and then gave up 2 runs on Sunday. So the splits, those small sample size, are starting to show that he's better in his first appearance of the weekend and not as sharp in his second or third. Again, that's a tall task. Not many guys, in this bullpen can pitch multiple times throughout the weekend, but Dylan Loy certainly is one of those guys. Win over Ole Miss, and now you turn the page, you go to Kentucky, or Kentucky comes here, and it's up for another Southeastern Conference series. And Kentucky, we know it, they play small ball. Get a load of this. Kentucky, second fewest strikeouts at the plate. Misspelling there. Let me check that. Second fewest strikeout at the plate in the conference. Leads the conference with 25 sack bunts, 23 sack flies. Kentucky is also second in the SEC with 73 stolen bases. They've been caught a league high 17 times as well. So what that tells me is they're going to be trying to put guys in motion. Stealing, sack bunts, hitting runs, playing a little bit of small ball. Now, the numbers overall offensively are not very impressive for Kentucky. Towards the bottom, 15th in the league, 16 teams, 15th in the league with a 274 batting average, 15th in the league with a 427 slugging percentage, okay? 10th in the league with a 399 on base percentage, 15th with 246 runs scored, last with only 305 hits on the year, 15th with 33 home runs, last with 476 total bases, and 15th with 146 walks at the plate this year. So clearly, it's small ball, but they're trying to not overcompensate. They're trying to make up for where they lack in the power departments and the average departments and all that. And so, this is kind of how Kentucky's coached, and Tennessee's played against this version of Kentucky the last couple of years, so it should come as no surprise. But for Marcus Phillips specifically, holding guys on, throwing over there, and Chuck will talk about this really, really, really well here in a moment. You've got to do something to try to disrupt that timing. You just have to, or they're going to have a field day with some of these Tennessee pitchers on the mound, and that's not what anybody wants. We'll stay offensively for Kentucky. A couple of guys that stand out. Left fielder Cole Hage leads the team with a 322 average, 35 runs scored, 9 home runs. Shortstop Tyler Bell, second on the team with a 321 average, 5 home runs. He also leads the Wildcats with 31 RBI. Designated hitter Patrick Herrera, third in the order. That's where he hits. He's also third with a 317 batting average. Second baseman Luke Lawrence, 281. He's the leadoff hitter. Sean Montoya is the right fielder, 281. He's third on the team with 10 stolen bases. Again, they have 3 guys who have double-digit steals on the year. And third baseman Ethan Hindle, not a very good average, 224, but he's tied with the team lead with 11 stolen bases. So not a whole lot of noteworthy guys that stand out offensively, but again, it's a small ball type mentality. Pitching-wise for Kentucky, Nate Harris, going to be the Friday night guy, 3-1, 394 ERA. Former midweek starter. He was a midweek starter for much of the year up until about 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago when he moved into the starting rotation on the weekends up to Friday night. 29 innings and 2/3 across 7 starts, 21 strikeouts. He's walked 10. Opponents are hitting 227. So kind of like that underdog story there. But that's Nate Harris. He's a righty. He'll go against Liam Doyle on Friday night. Nick McKay, who was the opening day starter for much of the year, the Friday night guy, he will pitch on Saturdays. 3-0 is the record, a 3.64 ERA. 42 innings on the year, 9 starts, 39 strikeouts, but this is probably why he's been moved down a little bit. He's dancing with fire. 39 strikeouts, 26 walks. That is not good. Opponents are hitting 167 against him, but if you're getting guys on base, you're dancing with fire. 26 walks in 42 innings. That is not good. Ben Cleaver will start the game on Sunday. He will counter Tegan Kuhns of Tennessee. 2-1's the record, 4.76 ERA. He pitched on Saturdays up until they shuffle the weekend rotation a little bit. Let's see here. 47 innings pitched. That's a team high. 56 strikeouts. That's a team high. 16 walks. So that strikeout to walk ratio is pretty good. Opponents are hitting 175 against him. Bullpen's not as sharp, okay? There's been a lot of guys that have been highly used, but, lefty Evan Byers, 4.76 ERA, 17 appearances. Righty Niall Adcock, 1-1's the record, 6.94 ERA, 14 appearances. Opponents are hitting 333 against him. Jackson Nove, he is a righty as well, 4.63 ERA, he's a lefty, 4.63 ERA, 12 appearances. Again, the bullpen ERA is not fantastic. Scott Rouse, he's the stretch man, right-handed pitcher. On paper, I don't watch Kentucky baseball, so I'm not going to act like that this is his exact role. But on paper, it looks like he's kind of their Nate Snead. Stretch guy, did have a spot start. 4.78 ERA, bullpen high, 32 innings pitched, 9 appearances, 1 start on the year. The Wildcats ranked 8th in the conference with a 4.21 batting average, or ERA, and they're second to last in the SEC with 314 strikeouts, but have issued the second fewest wild pitches at 19. So they don't strike out a lot of guys, but they're also not wild in their command. Again, only 19 wild pitches. You might be saying, why are you reading that stuff off to me right now? Who cares? Well, wild pitches came in to bite Tennessee in the rear end on Sunday with Nate Snead there at the end with 2 critical wild pitches. So that's a look at the personnel a little bit for Kentucky. For Tennessee, again, it'll be Liam Doyle. His numbers on the year just continue to look that much more impressive. 6-1, 2.47 ERA. Marcus Phillips, Tony Vitello said that he's their guy. 2 rough starts in a row. Not going to sugarcoat it. 2 rough starts in a row. His start at South Carolina was one of those where I thought he pitched well, but he deserved better, essentially. His numbers might not reflect that, but I thought that he pitched pretty well, kind of like Tegan this past week at Ole Miss. Marcus Phillips, his numbers now still impressive. 2-2 on the year, 3.30 ERA. And then Tegan Kuhns, 2-1 on the season, 2.86 ERA. But the big story, obviously, that we discussed on Tuesday, written about it's been in the making for quite some time. Tony Vitello confirmed that A.J. Russell will be making his SEC debut, albeit it's coming out of the bullpen. And we're just going to see how all this works, okay? Obviously, A.J. Russell is a starting pitcher. I do believe A.J. Russell is going to start many games for Tennessee, but you got to kind of find out where he fits best right now. I think he's the best starting option on the team outside of maybe Liam Doyle right now, but would it make the most sense? If you start AJ right now, how are you going to use Tegan? Would it make sense to have Tegan go 3 to 4 innings and then bring AJ Russell in on a clean inning, let him go? I mean, regardless, he's going to continue to build up. I asked Tony Vitello that on Tuesday, and he said build up. I said stretch out. I mean, he's going to continue to do that, so he's going to be ready, but it's just about trying to figure out where he can help best this team right now. They're going to get the most out of A.J. Russell as he continues to, again, stretch out and build up. But that's awesome. I mean, your bullpen's struggling a little bit right now. You're adding in A.J. Russell to help you get at least 3 outs this weekend. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. So I'm intrigued to see where they want to use Russell. I think it would make the most sense. I mean, just kind of depending on the games, like, if you have to go all out on Friday to win that game, maybe burn Snead a little bit, maybe burn Loy a little bit, then that kind of moves A.J. Russell up to where he can go and help you out on Sunday. If all goes according to plan, you get a lot out of Doyle, you cap that with Loy or whatever, you get to Saturday, you cruise with Snead, maybe bring A.J. in to close it, or maybe hold A.J. until Sunday to use him as a bridge from Tegan Kuhns to Braden Krenzel. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting scenarios here, but we're going to see him out of the bullpen this weekend. Tony Vitello confirmed that on Tuesday. So at least he said that's the plan. That is the plan at the time. So that's really, really cool to see. Before I get into Charlie Taylor, do want to remind you guys, it came out the morning of all the Nico stuff. So literally, you guys probably didn't even know it was out there. But I wrote a feature story on Ariel Antigua last week, and I thought it was pretty good in terms of the quotes that I got from Ross Kivett and, taking some stuff that Tony said and, of course, talking with Ariel. Enjoyed that feature that's up there. Either sometime on Thursday or on Friday for sure, I'm going to have a feature out there on Cannon Peebles. You guys might be thinking, well, Cannon Peebles, he ain't done much this year. Why are you writing a feature on him? Well, the batting average says he hadn't done much, but his clutch hits says otherwise. Dating back to the Omaha walk against Florida State that kept that ninth inning going. South Carolina a couple weeks ago. Sunday at Ole Miss. I think there's a story there in terms of an underdog mentality, blocking out the noise, focusing on the at-bat at hand, and a really good note tonight in the War Room on Cannon Peebles on a question that you guys have been asking about in terms of which side of the plate is he batting on. Talk to him about that. I'll have a note in the War Room on that. Pretty interesting stuff. So appreciate Cannon speaking with him today. Spoke with Josh Elander as well. So I got a feature coming up on Cannon Peebles at some point this either Thursday night or Friday. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to this weekend. It'll be Tennessee and Kentucky starting on Friday night at 6:30 Eastern Time at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, and we'll have you covered one way or the other. Me, Grant Ramey, some way, somehow, we'll have you covered this weekend. It'll all be at Volquest.com. Without further ado, we'll get into Charlie Taylor, VFL, co-host of The Porch. That is coming up right now right in just a second here on The Porch. But I do want to tell you about our friends over at Spivey King and Spivey LLP for making this podcast possible. They've done this for 3 years now, and I appreciate them. Big-time Tennessee fans. So they get it. They get what's going on right now with Nico Iamaleava, right? But if you have a problem, let them find a solution for you. T. Trail Lawyers. They specialize in criminal defense, family law, and personal injury. Examples of which could be DUI, assault, divorce, custody, alimony, stuff like that. Over 80 years of combined experience, Spivey King and Spivey LLP provides representation throughout state and federal courts in Northeast Tennessee. The firm has a vast amount of trial experience. Practice has been in place for 43 years. This specific partnership since 2012. Also having partners who are energized for today's modern legal demands. Practicing primarily in Northeast Tennessee, the Tri-Cities of Sullivan County, as well as Hawkins County, Washington County, and surrounding areas. The firm has multiple awards and attorneys who have been rated by super lawyers in the Mid-South with real trial experience. Whether you've been injured in a car accident, need help with a divorce, help with custody of your children, or have been accused of a crime, Spivey King and Spivey LLP is here to help you. That phone number is 423-245-4185, 423-245-4185. That'll be a free consultation if you dial that phone number, and check them out online at SpiveyKingandSpiveyLLP.com. You got a problem? Let them find a solution for you. TN Trial Lawyers. Charlie Taylor back on the porch here to break down Tennessee's series win on the road at Ole Miss last weekend. Chuck, it's one of those weekends where, Friday was like a throwback, and we'll get to it in a moment. Low scoring, your aces out there just shoving. One swing of the bat's 2 runs, and that's all you get if you're the Rebels. But, for the most part, you didn't play good baseball last weekend. But good teams find ways to win on horrible days. And defensively, it was a horrible day on Sunday and the first inning on Saturday. What's that say about this team and just how much talent's there that despite not playing well over a weekend, you can go on the road, and I think Ole Miss is pretty good. It was top 10, and beat a team like that and get a series win.
Yeah, I thought I heard somebody in the post-game presser mention something about how the infield was full of landmines or something like that. So, I can attest to that. Coach Elander was hitting me fungos before games when we played down there at Ole Miss a few years ago, and it was, you had to keep your head on a swivel. But no, that's a big series win. You almost in any given season, you almost want to time it right, which is so impossible to do, but you want to face a certain level of adversity and still win baseball games, and that was accomplished this weekend. So I thought it was a good test, and the team's gonna be better for it.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's go on Friday. Liam Doyle might as well just pin the post at the top of the website or whatever that SEC Pitcher of the Week, because he did it last year, or he did it last week, did it this week, did it earlier in the year. Last week against A&M, he was 5 innings of the combined no-hitter, 7 innings. This week on the road at Ole Miss, obviously a place that he knows very well, he goes a career high 8 innings and a third, 2 outs from a complete game. Career high 14 strikeouts, tied that from he had it against like Hofstra or somebody. I mean, or maybe Sanford or whatever. Career high 14 strikeouts in SEC play for sure. And I mean that you couldn't ask for a better tone setter for the weekend. I mean, what'd you think about Liam Dewell's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he did a really good job keeping his emotions in check, but you could tell that there was a little something extra there for him this weekend, a little extra motivation to go out there and perform and have a good outing for his teammates. But again, that's what he's been doing all year long. There's been some outings that are flashier than others, like this one that just jumps right out at you. But pretty much every time he runs out there, he's giving his team a chance to win, and I think that's the most important thing. So I see no reason why he won't continue to do that the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's almost like during the course of the inning, he's keeping his emotions in check and everything. But like once you get that strikeout or that fly out, or I mean, it was a strikeout for him the majority of the time on Friday to end the inning. He just kind of unloads. The emotion unloads, and he'll turn around and chirp a little bit, and then go to the dugout. He's done that all year long, but. How difficult is it to, or I guess it's just kind of, it's interesting that like he holds it all in and then just lets it unflow when he's heading back to the dugout.
Yeah, and I heard him talking about it too. You can tell, his he's got a ton of emotion and he plays with a lot of passion, and you see it in the way he pitches and some of his reactions. But I heard him say that he tries to keep it directed toward his teammates and
Yeah.
his dugout. And I, from watching the games, I think that's evident, and that's the right way to do it, in my opinion. So, um, I think his teammates probably feed off that energy, and it's fun to watch as a fan.
Now, at least at one point in the weekend, his cohort Andrew Fisher did not direct it only to his team. Turn around and flash the ball sign or something. I don't know what he did. Turn around and chirp to Luke Hill, who's a really good player for Ole Miss, and then Hill hit a home run, I think, on Sunday, and turned around and started chirping Andrew Fisher. I mean, those are two guys. I don't know if they have history or whatever. I know they played together last year, but anyway, it was that type of weekend for Andrew Fisher overall, man. I mean, like it's weird. I mean, he led Ole Miss in home runs and everything last year. Obviously, he was like their best, power hitter. Um, but like they booed him all weekend long. I mean, it was relentless. He got hit in the hand at 91 mile per hour. And just like you and I talked about, I think it was me. Yeah, I don't know if it was Xander or not, but I think it was me and you, like he did at Alabama when he took his time. They were booing him, took his time some more. I mean, this time, like he literally had his hand, like he got drilled and he was hurting. And they're just like still relentlessly booing him. They're showing, I don't know if you watched that game, they're showing a little kid in the stands and he's just like giving it to him. I'm like, dang, man, that's such a bad look. Um, what did you think about the way that Ole Miss kind of treated Andrew Fisher this weekend and the way that it looked like it just fueled him?
Yeah, I mean, next time Ole Miss fans bring up Vols throwing stuff on the field at football games, we need to bring them up, rooting for injuries for guys on other teams. No, I'm kidding, but it's I've always thought it was an interesting strategy for other teams, and I don't know who started it or who, got the first word in, but I've always thought it was an interesting strategy against Tennessee to try and talk and jaw back and forth with us because I think 9 times out of 10, a street fight type of series favors the Vols. So I, I really truly think that we don't start as much and we kind of just finish what comes our way. And if you choose to, start some talk with us and give us a little extra motivation, great, we're going to use it. And I think you saw that as the series wore on, it would have been easy to just roll over there on Sunday after what looked to be a tough call, a tough break on the review, but maybe you never know how that little extra motivation plays into getting the job done there late on Sunday.
Now, I would imagine that earlier in the career, Tennessee started a lot of it. The Becks, the Gilberts, those two guys go, hand in hand when we have this conversation. Who were some of the other better talkers that you play with over the years? I would imagine. I mean, I saw him several times. Simo's in that conversation. I feel like Luke Lipschius is absolutely in that conversation. Maybe not talking, but his antics. He was a big antic guy.
Yeah, I mean, Luke was just having fun out there.
Yeah.
He was, yeah, I don't know that he was ever like going at somebody on the other team, but yeah, I mean, Semo for sure. Um, Inslee, he stays pretty mellow, but then when somebody escalates it, he's the guy you want on your side. But yeah, I mean, you think back to the Gilberts and even the Evan Russells. It's kind of one of those things that there's a lot of guys that have been in the Vols dugout who, when it comes to when the tensions get high, you want them on your side.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Let's go to Saturday's game. Tennessee falls 8-5. Man, I wanna ask you specifically. I mean, that first inning was just it was a train wreck, man. It was what was it? It was 5 stolen bases against Marcus, 8 in the game. I think 7 went against Marcus, and then they tried the suicide squeeze, and it actually it was a wild pitch got away from him. That was against Brandon Arvidsson. But I'm gonna two separate things. When first, is it something they saw against Marcus specifically? Because obviously they got on and they ran, and there was nothing that he nor Cannon can do. And I feel bad for Cannon because it's like, I mean, it's not the catcher's fault all the time, but that was just it was tough to watch, especially in that first inning.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just a math equation for a lot of those third base coaches, and if they see a number that a pitcher is taking longer than whatever number they have on their stopwatch to get to the plate, it's kind of green light every time. And there's different philosophies. I think I've mentioned it before on here that a lot of times the Tennessee coaches and pitching staff take the approach of, okay, the base pass is the battle, but the hitter pitcher is the war. And that's paid off for us more times than not, focusing on getting outs, getting the hitter, and not trying to make the point guard, Steph Curry point guard, crazy play, throwing somebody out on the base pass. But it's definitely something to think about because credit to Ole Miss and their staff, they saw something on video that they could exploit, and they did it in that first inning and put a lot of pressure on Tennessee. And I think it kind of set the tone for that game.
Yeah, no crap. It absolutely
Yeah,
set the tone for that game.
yeah.
And I mean, Tennessee wouldn't go away. They just continued to fight. I mean, I tweeted it. I think after the series was over. I mean, what a like you did. I mean, Tony said it too. Like you didn't play good baseball, but you just got no quit in you, and you found a way to win. And we'll get to Sunday in a moment. But scoring 3 in the top of the ninth when you were left dead. I mean, this team just has no quit in them, and that was the same on Saturday. Just no quit. I mean, scored 2 in the 6 and made it a close game, but then ultimately came up short. So what type of adjustments, and hopefully it's not anything like drastic, and I don't think it is, but what can Marcus do from now until his next start? Because, I mean, obviously Kentucky watched that on tape too, and they're going to try the same thing. What can he do to, I guess, speed things up in order to not let that happen?
And that's kind of Kentucky's brand of baseball too, if I'm remembering correctly. But
Small ball,
um,
yeah.
yeah, so I mean, obviously, any type of pickoff moves that we could put in just to keep him honest, or um, you know, it's one thing I've always, in my opinion, when it comes from the catcher, it's a little or the coach, it's a little less authentic and it's more predictable. Like, you put down the whatever the pickoff sign is, or I guess now you buzz it into their ear. I've always thought the best way to do it is to just take ownership of it as a pitcher and mix it up. Maybe you're looking in for a sign one time and you hit a little quick pick off back to first, even if you have no intention of throwing them out, just a different timing. And then maybe the next time you're coming up, like to get set, and then right before you bring your hands together, you pick off, or then you give a long hold, short hold, mix in a slide step every now and then. So long way of saying that I think the best way to do it is to just take ownership of it as a pitcher, because at the end of the day, it's your stat line, and it's 90 feet is a big deal in any league, but especially in the SEC. So yeah, we'll see if there's any adjustments made there.
You know who was really good at that? Now he's a lefty, so it's kind of different. But I mean, Xander was really good at that. I mean, how many times sitting there watching last year and he just throws over first? I mean, clearly it's not one of those where he's trying to get the guy. He's just just lobbing it, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, let's go, like let's go. But like he did a really good job of holding guys on and kind of mixing some things up.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm remembering, I don't know exactly who it was, but maybe back with like Burns or something like that. There's a few, especially pickoffs to second base, where when it comes from the dugout or the catcher, or it's a scripted play that you're trying to pick somebody off, it's just sometimes it looks awkward. They do the leg kick and turn around, and the guy's just standing on second base, and you do a little awkward flip there, and it doesn't cause the base runners to get on their heels at all.
Yeah.
They still stay aggressive, but when it's authentic and maybe the infielder's flashing his glove or giving a little jab step behind the runner just to make him think a little bit. I think that stuff is more effective. So it's going to be some leadership and ownership necessary from uh, the guys on the mound and the guys in the infield.
Let me ask you this, and while we're talking, catcher, pitcher, holding runners, and all that, Cannon had a couple throwing errors this weekend. Every time I see him throw down to second, he wears that two piece. And way back in the day when I played a little Babe Ruth and a little bit of travel ball back in the day, I wore a two piece. I thought it was cool. But I mean, like you wore a hockey style, like it's all about preference. For me, the hockey style made sense. The older I got, for you obviously wore that. But every time Cannon throws down the second, it's just all this crap going on up here. It's like, you know, like I don't know, man. Like your experience, hockey to two piece. Why did you like to go with the hockey style?
I always thought the two piece looked way cooler. There was no
Yeah,
doubt, but the hockey mask just made sense for me because it was less to worry about. I mean, you got the earpiece now is falling out all the time. I remember I was using it before like in January before my sophomore year, the first time I was going to get some real game action, and it kept falling out, and it was pissing me off. And so one January scrimmage, I literally just taped my ear shut with the earpiece in it
no.
because I just got so fed up with it. But the point of the story, there's a lot going on back there. So I always like the hockey mask, but some guys have the swag to pull off the two piece.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of Cannon Peebles, again, let's jump to Game 3 real quick. I mean, it's like carbon copy what happened in South Carolina, right? I mean, Cannon, like he's so much better at the plate. Everybody knows that. Anybody that's paid attention to this program or to our reports or whatever, we go there in the fall, we go there in the winter, and we watch. And I mean, he just torches the baseball. Like he's. I mean, look what he did as a true freshman, DHing there at NC State. It's not gone the way that he's wanted to at the plate so far, but still, like I've been so impressed with his ability to block all the noise out and just channel in one-on-one battle. And he's had a couple of massive home runs, one in South Carolina and the other day really ignited Tennessee. Tennessee was like 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They were 0 for whatever with runners on them, and it was awful. And he had that 2-run home run in the sixth. Tennessee ended up scoring, 5 runs. Biggest hit of the game until Reese Chapman there in the ninth. I mean, like, how difficult is it how impressed were you with that? Also, like, how difficult is it just trying to block everything out and focus on, just one at bat for your team?
Yeah, had a left on left base hit against A&M the weekend before too. I don't know if the people noticed that one, but
No,
I
they did,
enjoyed
and then
that.
and then he turned back around and did his normal switch hitting this weekend. So it's
Yeah,
kind of weird.
yeah. No, it's he's grinding. The the grind of being an SEC catcher is catching one game a week is insane, but catching all three in a weekend is a ton. And we've talked about it a bunch, but his number one job is taking care of the pitching staff, and he's grinding up there at the plate as well. It's when you hit a homer like that for your team, that's a huge confidence booster. And as you've talked about, everybody knows he can hit. It's there 100%. So all you can do is just keep, you know, winning pitches, putting together quality at bats, and the results will come down the line.
Gavin Keelan made his return to the lineup this weekend. Clearly not ready to play the field. I mean, he was jogging. He was jogging like to first base and everything. And at first, it was kind of funny because I do this game thread, on our website, and some great passionate Tennessee baseball fans are in there. And I don't know what he did in his first at bat, but like maybe it was the single that should have been a double or whatever, and like, oh, he doesn't need to be in there, he's jogging or whatever. And then like as the game goes on, he just keeps hitting. It's like, okay, well, yeah, just who cares? You can crawl to second base for all I care. Like that bat is so important, and he just comes in, has 3 hits on Saturday, had a home run on I don't know what day it was, but he was second on the team on the weekend in terms of the average. Reese Chapman, who we'll get to in a moment, led the team on the weekend. But Gavin Keelan, 6 for 14, home run, 2 ribbies. So, I mean, just such a consistent threat up there in the 2 hole. It was great to see him back.
I think there's been one or two guys every year that, since I've been in the program who have dealt with a similar hamstring thing. And that's a huge compliment that, the boss thinks that highly of you as a piece in the lineup that he wants you in there even when you're clearly not 100%. So I'm thinking back to the Liam Spence days. Gilbert dealt with a hamstring, KT at certain times, and now Keelan. So he's he's the centerpiece of that lineup and a huge part of everything that goes on. His takes are so quality. His swing is just smooth, and I'm excited to see him back out there on defense as well because I think that's an underrated part of his game.
Now, again, he missed over 12 games that he was pretty much out for. He got one at bat during this injury. So again, I know these numbers. He's missing a lot of at bats, but still, 87 at bats on the year, 21 walks, 6 strikeouts. I mean, it's wild. And what's crazy to me is Andrew Fisher came into the year, and the jokes were about he's going to be a 30-30 guy, right? He got 30 home runs or however many strikeouts, more than 30. I guess a 30-50 guy. I don't know what joke I'm trying to make. I can't think right now. But anyway, Andrew Fisher's got 38 walks on the year, which is incredible, man. I mean, like his plate presence has been phenomenal. I've been really impressed with both these transfers in terms of just big league at bats.
Yeah, that was speaking of the walks too. That was another thing. Um, I don't have it off the top of my head for Sunday, but especially Friday and Saturday. I think Friday, at least two of Tennessee's runs that scored were walks, if I'm not wrong. And then uh, Saturday, I think a couple of Ole Miss's first runs were walks as well. So grinding out those at bats, and a walk is just as good of a hit sometimes because you get a base runner and then you pass it to a super talented hitter behind you like Reese Chapman. So
On Sunday, Phillips walked 2 in the first inning, and they both came around to score. That was part of a 3-run inning. Um, Leadoff walk in the fifth, scored. There's a home run in the sixth. Leadoff walk in the sixth. That was off an inning. Leadoff walk in the sixth. It scored.
hmm
Yeah, I mean there was another leadoff walk later in the game, but it didn't come around to scores. Yeah, I mean walks were a killer, and then of course that some of that was with Phillips on the mound and like the base running behind him. Clearly, his last 2 starts have not been great. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but man, I hope he kind of gets back to where he was because he's not going to be like he was against Florida every week. But man, he was dealing a little bit, and everybody. I mean, Doyle went through a little bit of a stretch a couple weeks ago before he's been on the tear that he's on now. It's just working through the grind of this season, and I love the way that Tegan Coons bounced back, and Braden Krenzel as well. I know Krenzel got charged with a late run. Tegan Coons, man, the again it was the defense behind him, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, but Tegan Coons deserves so much better, man. I thought he pitched well on Sunday. He's got a short leash, he always will, or at least right now. But like he deserves so much better. It's like it's got to be one of the worst feelings as a teammate when it's like, sorry, dude, we did not have your back today.
Yeah, I mean, um, I thought Teagan and Krenzel both threw the ball really well with a lot of conviction, and both probably could have stretched their outings even longer. But you've got talented guys in the back end of that bullpen that we trust to come in and shut it down. So I mean, the kind of the theme of the weekend was it wasn't pretty, but That's kind of when you got to bear down and find a way to get it done.
A guy that I'm not worried about in the long run, because again, he went through a stretch out like this last year. Snead, Nate Snead's last. I mean, he did his job on Friday night. He was pissed that he got taken out of the game too. He came in, got one out. This Tony was playing matchups, but like 3 of his last 4 outings or whatever, I mean, they've been bad. Like they've been really going back to Alabama, where at the end he just ran out of gas. He had a really good outing until the end at Alabama. But are you noticing anything from Snead that maybe he's struggling with or not being consistent enough with? Because he's kind of getting hit around a little bit. I mean, control the other day was the issue. 2 wild pitches, a couple of walks. I mean, it just didn't look obviously crisp.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that I noticed. Sometimes maybe the only thing that I ever notice is he loves to work fast, and I think that works to his advantage more times than not. Sometimes every now and then I might like to see him, take a deep breath, just collect himself, and then go get that hitter. But he's he, that's also just who he is. He's in attack mode constantly, and that's what's made him such a valuable piece in the bullpen. So I expect him to be out there in the most important situations every weekend.
Look at Tennessee. You got Kentucky coming up this weekend. For a catcher and a pitcher, battery. How difficult is it to manage a team that? And I haven't looked at Kentucky specifically this year. It's at the time of this recording, it's early in the week. But typically, like you said, it's kind of small ball, right? Singles, get on there, base run, sack bunts. Move the guy over. Play little games. As a battery, how difficult is that to kind of manage? That type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying earlier, some guys it comes more naturally to on the mound. Kirby Connell, you didn't have to say a word to him. He knows he's just so savvy up there. Even a Xander, it comes naturally to him. Whereas other guys, it takes a little more, thought process to work through. Okay, what might they throw at me, or if if they bunt, here's where I need to go to the ball. So it sounds like a easy cop out answer, but it's communication early and often. It's the more you talk on defense, the more you're gonna be ready for that kind of stuff when it happens.
Dean Curley struggled in the field this weekend. Again, he wasn't alone. As a player, as a competitor, like again, it's like I always go back to that movie The Replacements, quicksand. Like one thing bad happens, then another, then another. How do you try to pick yourself out of that hole? Like when maybe you're thinking about it too much in between plays or whatever, because he made a couple of bad plays, and then he made one of the best plays I saw all weekend long. The longest throw on the infield on that chopper behind the bag. Not many guys have the arm strength in college baseball to make that. And that's why he's going to be a first round pick coming up. As a competitor, though, how do you kind of get out of that funk when you're seemingly not yourself in the field?
Yeah, I mean, that guy's a stud. He's gonna be totally fine. Um, you know, I can't speak to anything that he's maybe thinking right now, but he's so mentally tough that I'm sure the series win this weekend was just the thing he needed for it, and he's going to bounce back and have an unbelievable week this week. But maybe the only thing that I would do when I got in sort of a rut like that was it's easy when things are going wrong. It feels like all the dominoes are falling the wrong way for you. It's easy to just throw yourself a little pity party and get wrapped up in everything that's going on with you and yourself. But if you then just flip that around and say, you know what, I'm everything I do today is going to be to help my teammates win. Take the focus off of yourself and put it on your teammates. It sounds kind of corny and cheesy, but it really does, make a difference. You quit thinking about everything going on internally and you just focus on competing and beating that team in the other dugout.
Yeah, I wrote a feature on Ariel Antigua last week. I was really proud of it. Ross Kivitt gave some great quotes. I thought it was good, and I published it, released it, and then all the Nico stuff happened. So I'm like, well, nobody's ever going to know I had that one out there, so I'm going to have to bring that back up next time he makes one of those plays. But when I talked to him, he said, I mean, he essentially said the same thing. He was like, dude, I'm just here to help my team win. Second base, third base, shortstop. The other day he had 3 sack bunts. That's awesome, right? I mean, from the bottom of the order to put a guy in scoring position with 2 outs or with 1 out or whatever. I mean, you are doing a productive at bat when you might not be swinging a hot bat right now. So, so many unselfish guys on this team. Last thing out the door, man. already officially over halfway through the regular season, but halfway right now in SEC play. What do you like about this team, man? I mean, is it a team that you've been on some great teams? I'm not saying call your shot or anything, but does this team have, from now outside the dugout looking in, does this team have the makings of being one of the Tennessee teams that can, maybe make a run?
Yeah, I think what you look for is the combination of really talented young guys and then also the veteran leadership. And I think as long as Coach V and his staff are there, the talent is never going to be an issue. But what I've been the most happy with is watching guys like Reese Chapman grow into his role this year. I mean, he's been probably my favorite player to watch this year, just how he's developed. Hunter Ensley is always going to be a leader for the team. Guys like Bargo stepping up into more of a leadership role, from what I can tell. And even Peebles behind the plate, and then I don't know as much about the staff and those guys, but it seems like Snead is a huge leader. Marcus, the way he leads the team each weekend, Doyle, the way he sets the tone for the weekend. So it's like I said, the talent is there, and it looks like the leadership is there as well, and those are the two most important ingredients in my opinion. So they have anything that they want to accomplish, they're totally capable of it.
Reese Chapman, the best story that nobody's talking about. I mean, it's incredible, man. I mean, this whole time we've been talking almost 30 minutes, haven't even brought him up, and he had that monster hit on Sunday. But I mean, low key, he's got like 12 home runs, I think. Let's see here, Reese Chapman. He's got 10 home runs. Low key, 10 home runs. Nobody talks about him, and he's just following in that. That's like third base at Tennessee. This year's a little bit different because there's not stability there because of the injury to Gavin, but third base at Tennessee, it's just like a revolving door. It's like, that guy's great, that guy's great, that's got, right field at Tennessee. It's like Beck, C. Scott was such a great defender. KT, now it's Reese. I mean, it's just like, it's fun to watch for sure. Reese is having a phenomenal year.
Especially in the world of college athletics where people are jumping ship so
Mm-hmm.
often now. I mean, it's cool to see guys stick it out and develop in the program and then shine when it's their turn to be out there.
No doubt, man. As always, thank you so much for your insights and answering questions that me or the listener and viewer just have no clue about. Awesome job as always, and we'll talk to you again here in a couple weeks, man.
All right, go Vols.
Always enjoyed talking with Charlie Taylor. Provided some great intel on holding runners on, managing the run game, his thoughts on Cannon Peebles. Always enjoy catching up with Charlie Taylor and speaking with him and Xander on things that I just don't understand because I've not been there, I've not done that. So I hope you guys enjoy that as well. It's Tennessee and Kentucky coming up this weekend. Tonight, or Friday night, 6:30 Eastern Time on the SEC Network Plus. Saturday at 6 o'clock Eastern Time on the SEC Network Plus. And good old Easter Sunday. You got to love an Easter Sunday afternoon game, right? Right? I love my job. I'm blessed to be here. Don't mistake that. Number 4, Tennessee versus Kentucky, 1 o'clock Eastern Time on the SEC Network Plus. So that is the weekend schedule. Again, I know that we've been on a hashtag baby watch for a little bit. Just trying to, let you guys know if I don't show up for a game or whatever. We'll have you covered. Grant Ramey coming up. If all goes well, I'll be there all weekend long and covering this. But again, it can come even any day now. This will be my last weekend series before the baby comes. So I will not be covering Tuesday midweek. No matter what, I'm going to have a baby. My wife is going to have a baby on Wednesday, so looking forward to that. But you fathers out there know that it can come anytime now. So I'll be at the stadium. If not, Grant Ramey will have you covered. Brent Hubb's going to help you out. Of course, we're going to have this Tennessee baseball series covered for you right here at Volquest.com. Appreciate you guys. As always, thank you so much for being here. And a big thanks to Spivey King and Spivey LLP for being a part of the show. If you got a problem, let them find a solution for you. TN Trial Lawyers. This has been The Porch, a Volquest.com baseball podcast.